Look at his eyes. No, really, look at them. Through those fingers. See how they're watching you, how they follow you, no matter where you stand. He's not laughing at a joke. He's not laughing at himself. He's laughing at you, at me, at every person who's ever stood in front of this painting thinking they understood what they were looking at. Because hidden in this image, in his hands, in his clothes, in the very way he positions his body, is a message so cutting, so brutally honest about human nature, that when you finally see it, you'll feel it in your chest like a punch. The artist knew exactly what he was doing, and he made sure this painting would be copied, reproduced, spread across Europe, so that as many people as possible would receive this message. But here's the twist that makes this whole thing even stranger. We don't actually know who painted it. The signature might be fake, the attribution disputed. 3 identical versions exist in different museums, as if someone was desperate to make sure this specific image, this specific mockery, would survive. Why? What was so important about this laughing fool that someone needed the world to see him? Let me take you back to the year 1500. Europe is losing its mind. Not metaphorically, literally. The entire continent is in the grip of what historians would later call the Great Fear. People are convinced the world is ending. Plagues sweep through cities like clockwork. The church, once untouchable, is fracturing from within. New lands are being discovered that aren't supposed to exist according to the Bible. The printing press is spreading ideas faster than authorities can control them. Everything people believed about reality is becoming negotiable. And in this chaos, a strange cultural obsession emerges: the fool. Suddenly, fools are everywhere. Not just in carnivals and marketplaces, but in literature, in art, in philosophy. In 1494, a German writer named Sebastian Brandt publishes The Ship of Fools, and it becomes a bestseller overnight. The concept is simple but devastating. Imagine a ship filled entirely with fools, each representing a different kind of human stupidity, sailing together toward the land of folly. Greedy merchants convinced they can buy happiness, vain nobles obsessed with their appearance, scholars so buried in books they've forgotten how to live, priests who preach virtue while drowning in vice, and captaining this doomed vessel, the jester, the fool, the one who laughs while everyone else unknowingly destroys themselves. 17 years later, Erasmus of Rotterdam, one of the greatest minds of the Renaissance, writes, "The praise of folly." But he does something radical. He makes folly herself the narrator. She speaks directly to the reader, mocking everyone. Philosophers who debate meaningless questions, kings who wage pointless wars, priests who've turned religion into a business. And then she turns to you, the reader, and says, "You think you're different? You think you're not part of this circus?" The message is devastating in its simplicity. We are all fools, every single one of us. The only question is whether we know it or not. Now look at the painting again with this context in your mind. Our fool is dressed in the traditional jester's costume, the cap with bells, the ridiculous collar. He's accepted his role. He's not trying to hide what he is. There's an honesty in that, a strange kind of freedom. But look at his right hand. See how it's covering his face. Yet his fingers are spread just wide enough to peer through. In Dutch, there was a phrase everyone would have recognized instantly: to look through one's fingers. It meant to deliberately ignore something, to turn a blind eye, to see the truth and choose not to acknowledge it. We still do this, don't we? We see the problems in our relationships but tell ourselves they'll work out. We see our bad habits destroying us slowly, but convince ourselves tomorrow will be different. We see injustice and tell ourselves it's not our responsibility. We look through our fingers at uncomfortable truths because facing them directly would require us to change. But here's where the painting becomes truly brilliant. Look at what he's pulling from his chest with his other hand. See those circular objects? Those are spectacles, eyeglasses. But look closely. They have no lenses. They're completely hollow, useless for seeing anything. In German, there was a common saying to sell someone glasses. It meant to deceive them, to trick them into believing they're seeing clearly when they're actually being fooled. And suddenly, the entire painting clicks into focus like a lock opening. These glasses, these instruments of false vision, were symbols everyone in 1500 would have understood immediately. At the time, spectacles were often associated with charlatans, snake oil salesmen, people who claimed to have special knowledge, special insight, special wisdom. They'd wear glasses not to see better, but to look smarter, to sell their lies with an air of authority. Sound familiar? Think about our world today. Think about all the people on television, on social media, in positions of power, who speak with absolute certainty about things they barely understand, who wear the spectacles of expertise while peddling nonsense, who've built entire careers on looking wise while saying nothing of substance. The fool in this painting has these glasses, but he's not wearing them. He's showing them to you. He's revealing the trick, and he's laughing, because he's realized something liberating. He doesn't need to pretend anymore. He's accepted that he's a fool. He's not selling you wisdom. He's not claiming to have answers. He's not wearing hollow glasses and pretending they help him see. But you might be, I might be, and that's what makes this painting so uncomfortable. That's why his laughter feels so mocking, so unsettling. He's not laughing at his own foolishness. He's laughing at ours, at our desperate need to believe we're smarter than we are, at our elaborate performances of knowledge, at the way we confidently explain things we don't understand. The fool has accepted his ignorance. Have we accepted ours? For centuries, this painting was attributed to Jacob Cornelisz van Oostsanen, a respected Dutch Renaissance painter whose workshop in Amsterdam produced religious masterpieces and intricate engravings. His signature appears on the work. Case closed, right? Not quite. In 1985, an art historian named Gerald Cavalli Björkman was studying paintings at the National Museum in Stockholm when she found something strange, an almost identical painting of the same laughing fool, same gesture, same hollow spectacles, same mocking eyes. Only the angle of the head was slightly different. Then another version appeared, and another. At least 3 paintings of this exact fool exist, scattered across different museums, painted by unknown hands. Someone, or several someones, was reproducing this image deliberately, systematically, as if it contained a message that needed to spread. But why? Why was this specific image so important that it had to be copied and distributed? Art historian Kenneth Craig connected these paintings to a tradition of visual proverbs. In the Netherlands, artists like Peter Bruegel would paint entire scenes filled with proverbs, sometimes over 100 in a single work, each one illustrated literally for audiences who couldn't read but could understand pictures. These weren't just decorations, they were moral education, lessons about life, about foolishness, about how to live rightly. Maybe the real foolishness isn't ignorance, it's certainty, the confidence that we've figured it out, that we understand, that we see clearly while everyone else fumbles in darkness. This fool knew something we're still learning. Wisdom begins when you admit you're playing the fool, when you stop wearing those hollow glasses and pretending they help you see, when you acknowledge that you're on that ship of fools along with everyone else, sailing toward destinations you can't predict. The question isn't whether you're a fool. You are. I am. We all are. The question is, are you laughing yet? Have you seen the joke? Or are you still covering your face, peeking through your fingers, trying to sell yourself glasses that have no lenses?